Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your WrestleMania rant for WrestleMania 35. So, it's been a yearly tradition to do a big rant and rave and break down the card for WrestleMania, break down the build-up, the lack thereof of build. So, for many a year, people have said that WrestleMania doesn't feel like WrestleMania anymore. And I've reiterated that on a number of occasions on this channel. WrestleMania doesn't feel as special as it used to be. WrestleMania feels like just another throwaway show. Now, I try to stay away from hyperbole like a lot of other YouTubers here in the YWC because, it just doesn't pay. Me saying that this is the worst WrestleMania ever, well, this year could come and go. And you might think that last year's WrestleMania was even worse, or you might say it's better. I mean, when we're dealing with such a lowered standard and quality, who's to really say that this is the worst show ever? I mean, I guess you could go, you could be at a -2, but you could be at a -3, which is even lower. So, I mean, we're already pretty bad. And saying it's the worst show ever, I remember, Backlash last year. People were saying it was the worst pay-per-view ever. And I was, the first one on here. And then there was also Raw last year. There was, a random Raw that people were saying it was the worst Raw ever. And then I actually thought that the next week's show was even worse than that show. So, to say that, that's why I stay away from the hyperbole. But anyway, well, let's talk about WrestleMania 35 as a card. So, and recently announced, one of the biggest matches is being added to this card. So if you were disappointed by Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, the fact that Seth freaking Rollins is gonna be the one to face off against Brock Lesnar and possibly beat him for the Universal title, fear not, because there's going to be a match that is going to make up for all those inequities. A match that's almost as high of the caliber of Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Almost as has the grandeur of Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. It's going to be as memorable as Shawn Michaels being retired by The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. That match, to speak the match, for my tongue to even, grace the names of the two individuals involved in this match at Mania. I mean, I think I would have to hire someone of more credibility, someone of a higher honor and distinction to talk about such a match. Do you want me to say what the match is? Because I'll say what the match is. I'm probably not going to do it justice because I'd have to have a much grander, announcer's voice to really, get it out there and project it and really make it's something vital and important to the world of wrestling, because that's very well what it is. What is that match, you ask? What is that match, you say? Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy, folks. Ah! Really? I don't know if this is going to be the pre-show or what have you. But anyway, it probably is going to end up being on the pre-show. I have heard that they have about 18 matches planned for this fucking card. 17 to 18 matches. First of all, they could barely even make this card up. First of all, we don't even know what the tag title match is going to be. And I was listening. I heard that they're bumping the two male tag team title matches. There was going to be the Usos versus the Hardy Boys. They're not doing that. Everything's going to pretty much be bumped to the pre-show. But you bet your ass they actually are going to have the women's tag titles on that card. They're even now contemplating on changing the Kurt Angle match because for some reason people have a problem with his last ever match in the entire WWE being against Baron Corbin. I wonder why. Now, guys, you know that a lot of people hate on Corbin, and I've been here on this channel. I've praised Corbin. I like Corbin. I'm not crazy about the direction of his character. I don't know why he's still wearing his GM clothes when he's not the fucking GM anymore. But, I like Corbin. I think the guy has improved tremendously on the mic. I think that he's imposing. I think that he could be a bigger star than what he is. John Cena cryptically posted on his Instagram that Baron Corbin is a dumpster fire, which is something that he said to Corbin back in 2017. And they reported on it on their YouTube channel. So that would kind of confirm that they are probably looking at the internet. Which is sad. I remember back in the day when I used to inhabit the wrestling message boards back in the day. People used to say that WWE reads these boards and they look at people's ideas online. I used to laugh at that shit because they didn't. Back then it wasn't great. But this was like back in 2003, 2004. I was like, they were going south. They were progressively getting worse each year. But they did not need the assistance of the people online. That wasn't something that they were doing. Trust me. The material was still better than a lot of things that these people were suggesting and everything. But I remember seeing a few ideas actually on the message board, particularly one match with Edge and The Undertaker, which actually ended up being a WrestleMania match, but there's no way that they were checking the boards. Now I'm pretty sure that they do scour YouTube and the boards, and it's not McMahon doing it, as people were saying. It's the writers. Why? Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of these writers, they're such marks, they probably watch people in the YWC. I guarantee you that a few people on this creative staff, I guarantee you that a few people probably on here, they probably watch some of the bigger YouTubers. Probably not myself, I would not think. But I'm sure that there's a few JD fans. I'm sure there's a few Sean's View Entertainment fans I'm just saying, because think about it, guys. These are young millennial writers. And, they're like people around my age or even younger, probably as old as you, whoever's watching. And they're probably, just like everybody. We like YouTube. We like to watch YouTube videos. Why wouldn't they? Remember, they're humans too. I don't know why people think that, like, these writers are so esteemed and like they're high culture, like they would be sitting like in the mezzanine of an opera house, like well-cultured individuals with monocles and talking like that. No, they're just a bunch of bums, just like everyone fucking else, So I'm saying these guys don't know what they're doing. Look at this WrestleMania card. Just look at it. You have Daniel Bryan, and they're like not even sure it's going to be Kofi Kingston. If they knew it was going to be Kofi Kingston, they wouldn't have been doing this. Like, oh, he's in the match, he's out of the match, he's in the match, he's out of the match. And they've done the same thing with Becky Lynch. She's in the match, she's out of the match, she's in the match, she's out of the match. I mean, like, okay, and also let's talk about that. I was reading on Wrestling Inc. that they are actually going to make this the main event, the triple threat match between Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Stone Cold Cringy Lynch. Okay, so that can be taken in a number of ways. First of all, it may not even be true. It's something that's being reported on by the dirt sheets. There's certain, I guess like advertisements that are like saying that it's the main event. I guess that's their source. I don't know. They don't really cite it, what their source is. But let's keep this in mind. There's been main events, like WrestleMania main events. We need to even just keep everything in perspective. Let's remember that a Royal Rumble winner in Alberto Del Rio opened up WrestleMania 27 in a world title main event match. So the term main event is very loosely used in WWE. I mean, what is a main event? How can we even really, judge what the main event is? To me, the real main event is whatever goes on last. That, if a match goes on last, that is what's truly important to WWE. Sometimes it's used as a statement. Maybe their heart's not really in it, like when they have the women main event Raw or the women, main eventing TLC. Once in a while they play around with the formula. But, for the most part, the main events, you can even trace this back all the way to WrestleMania 18, which was a great WrestleMania, by the way. That was the Hulk Hogan Rock WrestleMania. But if we all remember, The Rock and Hulk Hogan, they did not go on last. Actually, a match that was way ahead of them on the card was they had I believe it was a triple threat women's match with Trish Stratus, Jazz, and I don't remember who the other girl was that was in it. Was it Jacqueline or something? I don't fucking remember. But anyway, like, they have played around with the concept of a main event for a long time. What is a main event? Where should a main event be placed on the card? They've done it time and time again. Chris Jericho and CM Punk at WrestleMania 28. The match was like stashed in the middle of the card. That was the WWE Championship. I always say the Bruno Sammartino Championship. You can phrase it in a number of ways. So, they don't know what they're doing. Should this main event? Should it not main event? Kurt Angle's opponent, should they change it to John Cena or keep it as Baron Corbin? Look, I get that Baron Corbin makes sense in a storyline standpoint, and I said I am a fan of Baron Corbin, but this is Kurt Angle's last match. Even someone like me who's a Baron Corbin fan, I don't want to see Kurt Angle, going out on Baron Corbin, of all people, when they have a number of other wrestlers that Kurt Angle has history with. Like, first of all, they really fucked up, because, first of all, I said it on a number of occasions. What they should have done was have Kurt Angle win the Royal Rumble, go up against Brock Lesnar. He could lose in that main event, but it'd still go over. Well, why not do that? Why not have Kurt Angle go against Brock Lesnar, right? There's so many people. Wasn't it even Simon Miller had said it on What Culture? It's the only guy who I like on What Culture, by the way. His favorite match of all time. A lot of people hold that same sentiment. People love the Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar feud. Even the Smarks love it. The Iron Man match that took place on SmackDown, it's legendary. You want to talk about Kofi Kingston, wrestling for an hour, and I bashed the shit out of that? That was one time where using a whole hour dedicated to 2 stars was well worth the time spent on it, because you had history. They'd already wrestled at WrestleMania. They had a great feud that was well put together. 2 wrestlers that were real wrestlers, that really were, accomplished in the world of sports, and they gelled well together. They had excellent chemistry, and there were 2 guys that looked like genuine stars, that looked like they could rip each other's heads off. So why you would not want that, especially when you're struggling so much, with finding out what works? You can't figure out how to build new stars. You already have 2 stars that are already built, that people already respect, that people already like, that people that get good reactions. Why not? Why not do that? Instead, you're going to get a Seth freaking Rollins, which is going to be totally unbelievable. that this guy that can't even sell, can't even cut a decent promo, doesn't look like he could kick somebody's ass, he's going to walk into WrestleMania and possibly do what Roman Reigns failed to do at last year's WrestleMania and actually beat Brock Lesnar for that fucking title? And let's also, so we've talked about that. The women's match, I mean, they completely fucked that up too. Okay, look, if they wanted to do Ronda Rousey versus Stone Cold Cringy Lynch, go ahead and fucking do it. I don't want to see it. I think it's totally unbelievable that this girl could face... It was like seeing Ronda versus Sasha Banks or Ronda versus Ruby Riott. Her versus Charlotte, I could see because, she's a big girl that's really powerful. She really looks like she could do some damage to her. So, I don't see why you wouldn't just book that match, especially since they didn't get to finish their match at Survivor Series. It would make a little bit of sense. But okay, the Smarks love Becky. They want to get behind the cringe. Understandable. But if you're going to be behind this girl, be behind her. Don't she's in the match. Okay, it's part of the storyline, but what was the point of that? What can stimulate our interest? Are we supposed to be like, oh no, please keep her in the match? But then you go ahead and you do the same thing with Kofi Kingston. Are we first of all, both of these people, I don't even understand how anyone could be a huge, massive fan of them. What is it about Kofi Kingston, besides being there for 11 years, that makes the guy so great? I mean, I don't understand it. All of a sudden, because WWE had no one else to put in the chamber, they put him in there, and all of a sudden, I like him! Just out of fucking nowhere. Like, the fan base is brain dead. Brain dead. No one pushes for Rey Mysterio or Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy or Bray Wyatt or any of these other really talented, great, charismatic guys. Elias is another one. EC3. I don't hear anybody, getting all up in arms about these guys not getting their just dues at Mania. Like, we're headed into Mania and you don't have anything planned for Jeff Hardy? You don't have a match for Elias? You don't have a match for Bobby fucking Roode? I mean, honestly, what are we doing here with this fucking company? What are these fans? Are you really catering to these knuckleheads? Kofi Kingston, like, honestly, Kofi Kingston, the guy hasn't had a significant push in a while, and I understand that that's what the argument is. But it's like there's so many other people that are so much more deserving, and I get it. Opinions. I say it all the time. You have the right to have your opinion, but it's a stupid opinion. It really is. When you have all these guys with so much potential, do you really look at Kofi Kingston and you see this guy as being like up there with Stone Cold and The Rock and all that? Because I'll tell you, I don't view him in that way at all. And I get that people have this argument against Daniel Bryan. And this is the other thing here. You would think that Daniel Bryan, a guy who had to struggle to get to the main event, to be considered the main eventer, and everyone was behind him, and everyone just, all the smarks just abandoned his ass. Because he's like the only indie guy, that actually knows how to cut a promo. He's the only indie guy who comes across as any sort of like real star. It can't be just me. But why is it that it seems like anybody that has any sort of real potential, the Smarks don't like him, and they go with the people like Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Kofi Kingston, and Mustafa Ali. All these guys who have no hope of ever truly getting over with the general public. These are the people, they're gods. I mean, these guys are going to save the WWE. Even though with these guys being the focal point, the ratings are dropping like crazy. Like the way the ratings are on SmackDown. You clearly see that no one is tuning in to see Kofi Kingston get his much-deserved push. Because no one wants to see that. When they look at it, they see a guy from years ago that there's no one else, there's no stars. Look, do you not see on Instagram when they post a clip of some of these older wrestlers? Like, I'm saying, for example, a guy like Hardcore Holly. Talking about this, the other day on Facebook, a guy like Hardcore Holly who was just a mid-carder. But in comparison to today's crop of athletes, he's a fucking main eventer. Because Hardcore Holly had the body of a star. He acted like a star. He was a genuine tough guy that looked like he could kick your fucking ass. And remember when he went up against Brock Lesnar in 2004? People were like bewildered by this. Oh, he's a mid-carder. Why is he up against Brock? And then pretty much they just had Brock Lesnar just beat him in 5 minutes. And that was the end of Hardcore Holly's push. So, the problem right there with that is that Seth Rollins is going to go in against Brock Lesnar longer than Hardcore Holly did. And he's probably going to beat him. Do you see like the juxtaposition of the mentality from years ago versus today? Like, Hardcore Holly could beat Seth freaking Rollins' ass any day of the fucking week. No problem, probably with the fucking arm tied behind his back. Maybe even a leg. I'm just saying, it's like, where are the standards now? There's no demand for quality at all. This is what happens when you cater to these fans. This is the WrestleMania that you end up with. So let's talk about people from the past and legends, and we haven't even talked about Batista versus Triple H. We got probably one of the most laughably bad promos, probably one of the most unintentionally funny promos that we'll ever get. That's become a fucking meme as a result. Give me what I want. I'll give you what you want. Give me what I want. I mean, my God, I've heard people praise the energy of this promo, and I could see where you're coming from on that. But energy or not, I mean, this was ridiculous. I mean, the guy getting that all bent out of shape over just having a match with no reason to have the match or anything. And when he's given, like, the reason on why he wants the match so bad, he says it's because Triple H used him. You know, like, well, that's a long time to wait for revenge since, Triple H and Batista have already main evented WrestleMania. And Batista beat Triple H. Triple H has never even beaten Batista. So why would Batista want the match so badly? Wouldn't Triple H want the match more than Batista since Batista beat Triple H, not the other way around? I don't even want to see this match, to tell you the truth. I'm not interested in seeing it. I really, really don't feel like watching Batista versus Triple H. I already know that it's not going to be the best match on the show, probably. That honor will probably go to Kurt Angle. I'm just saying that, I would probably want to see this match under a different context. And I will give them that. They're building this match. They're giving it a story, but the thing is, it's like I always said on this channel, I want to see stories. Okay, well, let's have stories, but can we have good stories? Can we have well-told stories? I mean, just having a story for the fuck of having a story, you might as well not even have a story at all. You might as well just book the match because you're making us sit through all this pointless drivel. I mean, it's just fucking bullshit. And then you're going to have matches that have no story at all. Like Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. Where's the story there? Okay, so Seth Rollins won the Royal Rumble. But there's nothing being told here. It's, I'm going to slay the beast. And Paul Heyman's just going to come out there and cut the same fucking promo that he's cut on just about every other WrestleMania opponent for Brock Lesnar. There's, no differential between any of the other WrestleMania related Paul Heyman promos. I mean, and then you have, the Stone Cold cringy Lynch thing probably has the longest running storyline behind it. But it's probably one of the worst storylines ever as a result. They did this weird thing where Ronda was suspended, she wasn't suspended, then she was suspended again, then she got arrested, they took her out of the match, they put her in the match, they took her out of the match. I mean, what really more could be said about this Mania other than it's a fucking train wreck? And where are they getting 17 matches? We're talking about 7-8 matches here. What are the other matches? And the thing is about this whole card is just how indecisive it is. Look, we all know that we're probably going to get Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. The Kurt Angle match might be changed depending on how Vince really feels about it. But I mean, this Mania, they've changed the card so many fucking times. There's been, rumors about it changing, being added, taking things away, putting things back. It really shows that every single year that this company just continues to fall apart. They really have no idea what their future is. I mean, what are they really doing? What is the goal here? Do they want to grow the network? Do they want to grow their brand? Are they looking to sell? I don't know. Because, even Fox is not happy with the product. They want it to be edgier. They want it to be more sports-oriented. And, they're not giving us any of that. Vince McMahon seemed like he wanted to focus more on the XFL and making it more of a global brand. But, when no one's even watching your TV show, it's I don't understand how that's a great brand. The NBA is a great brand because everybody tunes in to watch it. Major League Baseball is a great brand because when the games are on that people want to see, they'll tune in and they'll watch it. No one's tuning into the WWE, they're tuning out. So that's not a successful brand. You can make the brand all bright and shiny and they may be raking in revenue. But as we've seen in the past, they're not making a lot of profit. They lose more than what they take in a lot of times. Or there was one year when they completely broke even. They run NXT, which, by the way, despite what a lot of people say on here, the brand fucking sucks. There's nothing going on that show at all that's worth anyone's time. And people always talk about that this is how the main roster should be designed. I guarantee you if WWE designed their brand around NXT, the company would not even survive probably 2 years. Because people like NXT because it's designed like an indie show. It is pretty much an indie show, and that's what people like. They make it very Ring of Honor-ish, and the people who like the Ring of Honor, who have currently, completely taken over WWE's audience, that's what people want to see. So, I don't know what their mission statement is. I look at this WrestleMania and I just say, God damn, what happened to WrestleMania? The fact that they don't even know what their biggest matches are going to be ahead of time, that they don't have a game plan, that they have to swap everything in and out to try to please the fans. You shouldn't have to really try to please the fans. It should come natural. You should know what the people want to see. You should know what's going to be drawing a big number. And if part of those plans is Kofi Kingston and a retirement match that involves Baron Corbin, You know, first of all, if Baron Corbin was built well, and Baron Corbin had been a world champion and everything, and they took the original plan they had with Baron Corbin with the Money in the Bank, and they ran with it, and he became a dominant champion, that probably wasn't going to happen regardless. But if they did, that would be a different story. Then I could probably buy someone like Baron Corbin retiring Kurt Angle, because he would be the heel of all heels. He would be forever over, retiring the man. And, I mean, you know, but that didn't happen. Nowhere even close. But see, that's the thing. There's no excuse for that. That the fact that almost half their roster, who am I kidding? Half their roster, 3/4 of their roster is not over. And they're nowhere close to being over. And before we end the video, let's talk about another individual that I didn't even get to yet. Braun Strowman. How is it that Braun Strowman is, you know, wrestling Brock Lesnar for the world title in their, you know, their global, you know, crown jewel event? Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that name. You know, wrestling Roman Reigns in the Hell in the Cell. And for some reason, the guy doesn't even have a regular match on the card. He's going to be wrestling in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And last year, it was the same thing. He wrestled Brock Lesnar. He wrestled Roman Reigns. He gets to Mania, and he has to tag team with the referee's son in what's a joke match, which almost seems like it's a fucking rib, like they're playing a practical joke on him. We fast forward a year, and he's almost in the same exact position, but worse. But worse. Because at least last year he won a title. You can't take that away from him. They gave him the tag belt, so they gave him a championship, so at least that was something. Now they're going to put him in a match that last year was on the pre-show. That's how much they care about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And there's a good chance that that match may be on the pre-show again this year. So Braun Strowman might not even be on the main show. And if he's on the main show, he's probably going to be fucking around with those two numbskulls from Saturday Night Live. And it's funny that I already called that ahead of time. I said that Braun Strowman won't be doing anything significant at this year's WrestleMania. I also said that Elias, just like last year, wouldn't have a match. He'd probably have a performance. And guess what? He's going to have a performance at Mania. I mean, you know what they say? It's so good to be right. No, it's not good to be right. I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. Because these are guys that I like on the roster. I don't want to see them in this position. Every week in my Raw reviews, I praise the shit out of Elias. I say, this guy has so much potential. He knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to work a mic. But what happens? What happens to Elias? They don't even have the decency to give him a match, give him a storyline. Instead, oh, you're going to just, you know, do your gimmick on the show. Dance like a fucking monkey with the cymbals, you know, basically. You know, dance for the organ grinder, Elias. You know, you've put all the effort. You got probably one of the biggest crowd reactions out of the fucking crowd last year during the Kevin Owens segment. Even that goofball writer who left the staff, you remember, he even said, what was his name, Kareem or something like that? I forget. Remember, he even said that was probably his favorite thing that he created, you know, because he put on the show for them to have them both out there. Not like that was even connected to anything. Remember, that wasn't even part of a storyline. It was just a segment they booked out there to get heat. So, you know, I don't know. So after that, don't give him a match. Let's not do anything with anybody. And then after Mania's all said and done, we're all going to sit there and be like, huh? Why? The creator's going to sit there and say, why are these guys not over? Like, I don't get it. Guys, get on your fucking computer. Get on a fucking, you know, Xbox or PlayStation or TV, whatever you got to do. Activate your Roku. Go on fucking WWE Network and watch what works. It's on the network. I always say this. You know the thing that they broadcast the fucking pay-per-views on? You watch the library of the Attitude Era. Watch the Ruthless Aggression Era. Just watch anything prior to this garbage. And you will see how to do things right. Or at least see how to do them decently. Like I said, you know, the Attitude Era, there were a lot of great moments in the Ruthless Aggression Era. There were many hiccups, but there are many moments that you could point to that were very memorable and good. So at least do that. Can we at least get Ruthless Aggression quality? I mean, I will even settle for early PG era at this point. Just, you know, give us a little something here. You know, I mean, this is just so terrible. And it's funny, it's like, because then they cut a promo saying that they're going to be better, and then they're even worse! Guys, do you not even see that the product has got even worse as a, you know, after they cut that promo? Things have gotten even worse. Because after that promo, we got this Mania. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, please leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time. This has been your YWC Champ, and I'm signing out.